David R. Guttery is the president of Keystone Financial Group in Trussville, Alabama. David Guttery and Brandon Guttery are financial advisors and represent Emeritus Investment Company, LLC. Please stay tuned through the end of the video for additional important disclosure information.
Hello everyone. Today I'm joined by David Guttery, president of Keystone Financial Group in Trussville, for an overview of the CARES Act and why its provisions are of great importance to individuals and small businesses. David, you were telling me earlier that absorbing all of the information concerning the CARES Act has been like drinking from a fire hose. I understand that you've summarized some of the more important highlights for our viewers, though, correct?
Yes. Let's begin with benefits to individuals. The CARES Act was signed into law on Friday, the 27th of March. Today, I wanted to discuss the highlights of what the provisions of the Act mean to individuals and small businesses. To preface, everything that I'm about to discuss is sourced from the CARES Act itself and other well-known and vetted industry summaries of the Act that we deem to be reliable. Furthermore, I'm not a CPA, and I recommend that everyone consult with your own tax professional regarding the application of the Act to your personal situation. Some individuals will receive a stimulus check. Those payments will begin at $1,200 for individuals or $2,400 for those who are married and file income taxes jointly. It also includes $500 per child, but you have to meet certain qualifications in order to be eligible for the money based on your adjusted gross income of your latest tax return. Checks will be reduced by $5 for every $100 exceeding certain adjusted gross income thresholds. Stimulus checks are completely phased out at $99,000 of income for individuals, $146,500 for heads of household filers with one child, and $198,000 for joint filers with no children. However, you are still eligible for a check even if you have no income, or if you rely solely on non-taxable government benefit programs like supplemental Social Security income benefits. Some individuals are specifically excluded from receiving relief checks. They would include non-resident aliens, individuals whose deductions can go to another taxpayer, estates, or trusts. More importantly, the money will not be counted as taxable income. For those filing for unemployment weekly benefits, unemployed worker benefits rose by $600 per week for up to 4 months. Self-employed workers, those seeking part-time work, and workers who quit their job or can't reach their place of work as a result of COVID-19 are among those eligible for benefits. I'm not an advocate of dipping into your qualified plan prior to retirement. However, the Act waives the 10% penalty on early withdrawals of up to $100,000 from qualified retirement plans for coronavirus-related distributions made during the 2020 calendar year. A coronavirus distribution is one made by someone or their spouse diagnosed with coronavirus or someone who experiences adverse financial consequences as a result of quarantine, business closure, layoff, or reduced hours due to the virus. Income from the distribution will be taxed over a 3-year period, and taxpayers may recontribute withdrawn amounts within 3 years. The Act also waives all required minimum distributions for 2020.
Well, those sound like very impactful features that may be of benefit for many of our viewers. David, tell us about the provisions that apply to small business owners.
Sure. For businesses, employers are allowed a credit against unemployment taxes equal to 50% of qualified wages paid to employees who are not working due to the employer's full or partial cessation of business or a significant decline in gross receipts. The credit is limited to $10,000 per employee and is for wages paid between March the 12th of 2020 and January the 1st of 2021. Also, payroll taxes due until December 31st of 2020 are deferred. Half of the amount will be due on December 31st of 2021, and the remainder will be due by December 31st of 2022. The Act also provides for a 5-year carryback of net operating losses that arose in 2018, 2019, or 2020, and adjustments have also been made to the business interest expense limitation, and also provides for bonus depreciation for many improvements made to commercial property since September of 2017. The Payroll Protection Plan offers loans of up to $10 million with a maximum 1% interest rate for amounts that aren't forgiven. Small business employers are eligible with fewer than 500 employees. Section 501c3 and Section 501c19 organizations are eligible for the PPP loan. The loan amount is the lesser of the $10 million maximum, or for businesses that were in operation over the previous year, 250% of the borrower's average monthly payroll for the past 12 months, excluding compensation over $100,000. This includes costs of health care insurance, including premiums, state and local employer taxes, retirement benefits, and certain other costs. PPP loans may be used to retain workers and maintain payroll, and to pay for specified expenses, including health care benefit payments, mortgage interest, rent, and utility payments. The loan amounts are forgiven to the extent that employers incur and pay payroll costs, health care benefits, mortgage interest, rent, and utility payments during the 8-week period following the date of the loan. Businesses do not need to pay interest on loan amounts that are forgiven, and forgiven amounts will also be excluded from federal taxable income. As the intent of the Act is to put money in the hands of small businesses quickly, efforts have been made to streamline the process. Loans made during the covered period are guaranteed by the federal government and are obtained through an SBA lender bank. The Treasury has suggested that the target for getting the funds into the hands of the small business employers could be as short as 2 weeks. The Small Business Debt Relief Program will provide immediate relief to small businesses with non-disaster SBA loans, in particular Section 7A, 504, and microloans. Under it, the SBA will cover all loan payments on these SBA loans, including principal, interest, and fees for 6 months. The relief will also be available to new borrowers who take out loans within 6 months of the enactment of the Act. The Economic Injury Disaster Loan and Emergency Economic Injury Grants are grants that provide an emergency advance of up to $10,000 to small businesses and private nonprofits harmed by COVID-19 within 3 days of applying for an SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan, or EIDL. To access the advance, you must first apply for an EIDL and then request the advance. The advance does not need to be repaid under any circumstances and may be used to keep employees on payroll, pay for sick leave, meet increased production costs due to supply chain disruptions, or pay business obligations, including debt, rent, and mortgage payments. An employer that applies for an EIDL, regardless of whether it's related to COVID-19, may also apply for a PPP loan so long as both loans are not used for the same purpose or are otherwise duplicative. An employer will roll an existing EIDL loan into a PPP loan by adding the amount of the EIDL to the sum of the payroll costs. However, any advance received under the EIDL grant program would be subtracted from the amount forgiven of the PPP loan. All private nonprofit organizations that have been in operation since January 31st of 2020 and that have suffered substantial economic injury from COVID-19 are eligible for loans and grants under the EIDL program. private nonprofit organizations, including tax-exempt organizations under 501c, D, and E of the Internal Revenue Code are included. The portion of the CARES Act targeted for the benefit of small business employers could have a significantly positive impact. These measures could mean the difference between employees that are simply being laid off or being furloughed with pay. The latter could go a long way toward bridging the economic gap that resulted from orders to shelter at home and other measures of social distancing that led to a temporary sharp decline in economic productivity. The greatest benefit may be that it helps to preserve the purchasing power of millions of taxpayers at this time, so that we have the chance to emerge strongly once this period of time comes to an end.
David, thank you for this overview of such a far-reaching and meaningful piece of legislation. For additional information, David may be reached upon the means listed upon the following screen. For the Trustful Tribune, I'm Brandon Dawkins.
David Guttery and Brandon Guttery offer products and services using the following business names: Emeritus Investment Company, LLC, AIC, member FINRA, SIPC for securities and investments. Emeritus Advisory Services, AAS, for investment advisory services. AIC and AAS are not affiliated with Keystone Financial Group. Products and services are limited to residents of states where the representatives are registered. This is not an offer of securities in any jurisdiction, nor is it specifically directed to a resident of any jurisdiction. As with any security, request a prospectus from your representative. Read it carefully before you invest or send money. A representative will contact you to provide requested information. Representatives of AIC and AAS do not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney regarding your specific situation.